kind of pause and wonder, okay, was that just pure chance? Or is there, something else going on? Welcome, listeners, to another My Mind MashUps deep dive, where we try to unravel mysteries, definitely spark curiosity, and hopefully make sense of complex ideas together.
And today, we're diving deep into those very moments, the ones that make us question the fabric of reality.
We're talking about those really meaningful coincidences, what the pioneering Swiss psychologist Carl Jung actually called synchronicity.
It's a really fascinating topic because, well, it touches something deeply human, doesn't it? Our need to find meaning, even in things that seem totally random.
That's right. Jung didn't just slap a label on it.
No, he suggested that these experiences, where a coincidence feels deeply meaningful but there's no obvious cause and effect link, they actually go beyond simple chance. It's about two sort of unrelated things resonating together, not just happening at the same time.
And to really get our heads around this, we've pulled together some pretty diverse sources. We've got psychological research, scientific viewpoints, spiritual takes, even cultural stories.
Yeah, a real mix. So we're not just defining a term here.
No, we're digging into how these moments kind of challenge how we even think about connection itself.
And our mission today, really, is to spark your curiosity about all this. Maybe challenge some assumptions you have about randomness.
And ultimately expand our understanding of how we perceive connections, or maybe how we create them in the world around us. It's that line, isn't it, between objective reality and our subjective experience.
Exactly.
So to really understand these moments, we have to start with the guy who tried to put a name to them. Carl Jung. He didn't just invent the word synchronicity.
No, he was tapping into something universal.
Right. He saw synchronicity as a meaningful coincidence where there's no clear causal link between the events, and it happens more often than you'd just expect by chance.
And the key part, really, is his idea that it connects our inner world, our thoughts, feelings, mental states, with events out there in the external world.
So it's not just two things happening randomly. It's those two things hitting you in a way that resonates with something inside, giving it that feeling of significance.
Okay, let's unpack this. What's fascinating here is how Jung sought to give a name to these moments we all experience. And he wasn't just, dreaming this up in isolation.
No, he was actually talking to some pretty serious people about it.
Absolutely. He was in this long correspondence with Wolfgang Pauli, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist. Pauli really pushed Jung to frame synchronicity in a way that, respected modern physics.
So not just dismissing it as woo-woo.
Exactly. Pauli wanted a rigorous approach. Their work together, which came out in a book in 1952, was this incredible attempt to bridge Jung's deep psychological insights with Pauli's own thinking about physics and cosmology. They were hinting at this deeper connection between mind and matter.
And Jung had that really famous story he used to illustrate it, didn't he? The scarab beetle thing.
Ah, yes, the classic scarab anecdote. It's from his clinical work.
Right, he had this patient, very analytical, very resistant to the therapy.
Highly rational, yeah. And she tells him about this dream she had where someone gave her a golden scarab, a piece of jewelry.
And just as she's describing this incredibly specific image,
Jung hears a tapping sound at his window.
So he goes over, opens it.
And in flies this beetle, a rose chafer technically, but it's got this metallic green-gold sheen, remarkably similar to the scarab in her dream.
Wow.
So Jung catches it, walks back to her, and just says, "Here is your scarab."
That must have just floored her.
Completely. That incredibly unlikely alignment of her inner dream image and this actual physical event happening right then, it just broke through her rational defenses. It led to a major breakthrough in her therapy.
Now, obviously, skeptics will say, okay, that's one story.
And they're right. It's anecdotal. It doesn't scientifically prove a causal connecting principle. But for Jung and Jungians, it's the perfect illustration of why some coincidences feel so profoundly meaningful. It wasn't just random to her. It bypassed her intellect entirely.
So Jung really opened a door there, suggesting a different way to think about meaning. But then we have to look at the other side, right? Our own minds. How much of this is just our brains playing tricks?
That's the crucial counterpoint. We humans are pattern-seeking machines. It's baked into our evolution, helped us survive, spot predators, find food.
But that pattern spotting can go into overdrive.
Exactly. It can lead to apophenia. That's the tendency to see connections and meaning between things that are actually unrelated. Our brains are desperate to find order, sometimes where there isn't any.
And some people are more prone to this.
Research suggests that, yeah, People higher in schizotypy, a personality trait linked to unusual experiences and thoughts, tend to find more significance in coincidences. Sometimes it veers into what's called magical thinking, the belief that thoughts or rituals can directly influence external events.
And then there are those cognitive biases we all have. They really muddy the waters, don't they?
Oh, massively. Our brains are constantly trying to build a neat story, making it really hard to be objective about coincidences.
Like confirmation bias.
Yeah.
We remember the hits and forget the misses.
Precisely. You remember the time you thought of your friend and they called, but you forget the 50 times you thought of them and they didn't call? We filter reality to fit our beliefs.
And hindsight bias. Looking back, it all seems like it had to happen that way.
Right. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Even if it was totally random at the time, it makes the past seem much more predictable and, well, meaningful than it probably was.
That 11.11 example is perfect for that. How many random times do you glance at a clock? Zillions.
But you notice 11.11, maybe because someone told you it's special or you saw it online?
Yeah. And that highlights the law of very large numbers, doesn't it? Given enough chances, even really improbable stuff is bound to happen eventually. Our minds just flag the ones we've decided are important.
Exactly. Statisticians like Percy Diaconis, it's Joseph in the outline, but Percy is more famous for this work, and Frederick Mosteller, they laid out principles to explain coincidences without needing, mysterious forces.
Okay, what are those?
Well, first, hidden causes. Maybe two events seem unrelated, but they actually share a common cause we just don't see.
Makes sense.
Second, psychological factors like the biases we just talked about. Selective memory, confirmation bias, all that.
Right.
Third, what they call multiplicity of endpoints. Basically, we're pretty flexible about what counts as a match. We might consider events similar even if they're quite different in detail.
Broadening the definition of a coincidence.
Exactly. And fourth, the big one. The law of truly large numbers. Just the sheer volume of events happening constantly means that incredibly unlikely things will happen somewhere, sometime. It's statistically inevitable.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, these statistical insights often remove much of the mystique around coincidences.
They really do. Rarity doesn't automatically equal significance beyond statistics.
Okay, quick pause here. If this deep dive is resonating with you, if it's making you think, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. We're all about challenging assumptions and expanding understanding right here on My Mind MashUps. All right, so we've got Jung's ideas, we've got the psychological explanations, the statistical view, but where does, mainstream science land on this versus, say, more spiritual interpretations? Science is generally pretty skeptical.
Oh, absolutely. The standard scientific view treats synchronicity primarily as a subjective interpretation, not an objective phenomenon happening out there. The law of large numbers is really key to this skepticism.
That birthday probability thing is a good example.
It really is. In a room of just 23 people, there's a 50-50 chance to share a birthday. Seems unlikely, but mathematically, it's expected.
So scale that up to everything happening globally.
And suddenly, incredibly surprising coincidences become statistically mundane, almost guaranteed to occur. Probability kind of takes the magic out of it from that perspective.
But what about those attempts to link it to, quantum physics, quantum entanglement, chaos theory? Does that hold any water scientifically?
That's a really tempting idea for a lot of people, and it pops up often. And yes, Pauli himself, Jung's physicist collaborator, was intrigued by possible parallels. He wondered about the non-local weirdness of quantum mechanics.
But he didn't actually say synchronicity was quantum mechanics?
No, crucially, he never claimed it could be experimentally proven or reduced to physics like that. And mainstream physicists today are very cautious, often quite critical, of directly mapping quantum concepts onto large-scale human experiences, like sensing meaning in coincidence.
So it's a bit of a leap.
A significant leap, yeah. Quantum entanglement works in specific ways at the subatomic level. Applying it to, say, thinking of your friend and them calling requires extraordinary evidence, which just isn't there in a reproducible scientific sense. Papers on quantum synchronicity exist, but they tend to be more speculative, often in philosophical journals, not core physics.
So scientifically, it remains mostly in the realm of psychology and statistics.
Pretty much. The consensus is, without solid evidence, it's understood as a psychological phenomenon, not a physical one.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. How do these different views shape how we make sense of our world? Because for a lot of people, These aren't just stats or brain quirks. Spiritual traditions often see them as, well, as messages.
Absolutely. This is where the interpretation shifts dramatically. It moves from interesting coincidence to potentially profound guidance or a sign from the universe or God or some higher intelligence.
Like angel numbers. You see that everywhere online now. 1111, 444.
Right. These repeating number sequences are often interpreted as, like you said, intentional winks from the universe, signs that you're on the right path or undergoing a spiritual awakening, or that your guides are near.
And that connects to things like the law of attraction too, right? The idea that focusing on something makes it appear.
Exactly. If you focus on seeing the number 222 because you believe it's a sign of balance, confirmation bias kicks in. You start noticing 222 everywhere, and it feels like you're manifesting it, confirming the belief.
It's self-reinforcing loop, potentially.
It can be. And then you have ancient systems like astrology or tarot reading, which are fundamentally based on interpreting patterns, planetary alignments, card layouts as meaningful messages about your life or future. It's all about finding significance in patterns.
What does this all mean for how we make sense of our world? It seems like finding meaning in these patterns is deeply ingrained in us culturally too.
Oh, absolutely. It goes way back. Think about those enduring anecdotes, the folklore around coincidences.
Like that French writer and the plum pudding? Émile Deschamps, yeah. The story goes, he encountered the same rather obscure stranger 3 times over many decades, and each time, weirdly, plum pudding was involved. Whether it's totally accurate or not, the story persists because it captures that sense of uncanny repetition.
And the Anthony Hopkins story is just bizarre.
Finding the author's own annotated copy of the exact rare book he needed for a role just sitting on a bench, it's an incredible tale.
Or the Wizard of Oz coat. Finding out Frank Morgan's costume jacket originally belonged to L. Frank Baum, the author, years after Baum died. It's mind-boggling.
These stories, true or embellished, tap into that deep human fascination with connections that seem to defy explanation. They become part of our cultural lore.
And you see it all over modern culture, too. Movies, music.
Definitely. Think about The Matrix with all its glitches and déjà vu hinting at a constructed reality. Or The Police naming their massive 1983 album Synchronicity, directly bringing Jung's idea into the pop mainstream.
Graphic novels, podcasts exploring mysteries. It's a recurring theme. It really is. It speaks to something fundamental in how we look for patterns and meaning in narratives.
And now it's exploded on social media, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially since, say, 2020.
Hugely. You look at TikTok, Instagram, hashtag synchronicity, hashtag angel numbers, hashtag 1111 have millions, maybe billions of views collectively. People are sharing intensely personal stories, finding community.
And sometimes, let's be honest, monetizing it too.
That's part of it now, yes. Spiritual coaching, readings based on these signs, it reflects this wider cultural current of seeking meaning, guidance, maybe even certainty in uncertain times.
So how does this impact us individually,
Yeah.
mentally, in our decision-making?
Well, on the positive side, finding meaning in a coincidence can be genuinely comforting. It can reduce anxiety, make you feel less alone, more connected to something larger. It can feel like a sign you're on the right track, giving a sense of agency.
But there's a flip side.
There can be. If taken too far, relying heavily on external signs can reinforce superstitious thinking. It could potentially lead someone to ignore practical realities or avoid taking personal responsibility, waiting for a sign instead of making a decision.
So it can become a cognitive distortion if you're not careful.
It potentially could, yes. The key seems to be balance and self-awareness, acknowledging the psychological power and meaning these moments can hold for you personally.
Without necessarily jumping to conclusions about external supernatural forces controlling things, especially if it leads to unhelpful behaviors.
Exactly. Appreciate the feeling, the resonance, maybe reflect on why it feels meaningful to you, but keep your feet on the ground.
Wow, okay. What a journey we've been on. We started with Jung's really radical idea of causal connections.
Then explored how our own minds are pattern-making machines full of biases.
But to the scientific view, the power of statistics and probability.
Contrasted that with deeply held spiritual interpretations, seeing messages and guidance.
And saw how these ideas echo through culture, folklore, and even TikTok trends today. It's really clear that meaning can be found or maybe created in so many different ways when it comes to these coincidences.
Which leaves us with a really interesting question to chew on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This raises an important question. Do these meaningful coincidences truly reveal some kind of hidden order and underlying connection in the universe itself?
Oh.
Or do they reveal something incredibly profound about us, about the human mind's innate, perhaps necessary drive to find order, pattern, and meaning, even, or especially, in the face of randomness and chaos?
That is definitely something to think about long after this deep dive is over. And hey, if you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We love making content that makes you think.
Please do like, comment, and subscribe to hear more My Mind Mashups deep dives.
And seriously, drop your thoughts in the comments. What's your take on synchronicity? Have you had experiences like these? Your perspective could genuinely shape our next deep dive.
We really do read them.
You can find My Mind Mashups everywhere you listen. That's Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook, Pocket Casts, Spotify, and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration into the really fascinating world of synchronicity.
It's been great diving into this.
Until next time.